Hey everybody, this is Wraith Gaming coming to you. I'm going to be making a very insightful video for you. I've been taking some time off, as some of you know. Just a second. Something I've been noticing over the last, I don't know, year, maybe more, about this game, how so many people have complained about how Pixonic is ruining the game, and I hear it and see it in comments of other players' videos and in their videos and you name it, and some have even quit the game outright because they say Pixonic is ruining the game and has ruined the game, and yet they continue complaining, and yet Pixonic continues making new stuff and adding stuff into the game where the players don't really want. And in a recent video I just saw this video that was actually made a month ago from today, and I was watching it, and they said something in this video that got my attention. One of the people from Pixonic were talking about Loki. This video was about how they make robots, and they were talking about Loki, and what got my attention was Pixonic was actually divided on Loki. Some liked it, some didn't. So they implemented it into the game, and what they said in the video, they found player base felt the same way. So what did they do? They left Loki in the game, and still is where it's at. What that tells me is, actually, why don't I show you what I'm talking about? Just a second.
The server allows us to find the right robot stats, such as speed, durability, and everything else.
Once we decided to make a robot that would embody the role of saboteur by using infinite stealth. After checking the prototype, our opinions on it were almost opposite. Some thought it is cool and exciting, some consider it too weird. Opinions in the team are often different, but rarely so different. So, we suggested player to try it. We sent a rough prototype to the test server. And can you imagine? Player opinions also clearly divided. However, stats and gameplay videos showed us that the robot could work really well in the game. And most importantly, there were players who instantly fell in love with the robot. Today, Loki is running around the live server for almost 2 years and still has both fans and haters. And yet, we cannot imagine the game without this pesky little dude.
Alright. As you may have noticed, when it came to the video, the player base was just as divided on Loki as Pixonic was. And some of the video, they were even talking on how they let player base decide on stuff as well, and that's through test server. I've actually done test server quite a few times since playing this game, and what I've learned was what I learned was that Pixonic is giving player base like myself the power to choose whether I and everybody else that plays the game wants something into the game or not. They do actually create a form that you have to fill out, whether you like it, the object of the subject of desire, I'll call it, or not. Whether you like it or not, you have the power to tell them what you really think. You want it in the game or not. You have the power to tell them in that test server form. But that's not the only place you have the power to tell them. You also have the power to tell them, let me show you, let's see if I can find it. Report an issue. Or you can make a video and tell them that way. I'm sure you've seen in the App Store, they have these rating systems, and sometimes there's a rating system that pops up in this game. You can give them your opinion there. Even make a video and send it to them. I've done that. The thing I've noticed is that they do pay attention. Don't think they don't, because they do. What I've noticed though else is something that I'm not sure how many players even notice just how much power Pixonic has given us in the game. I'll take two examples for starters. See these modules on the right side? You see this blue button at the bottom of the screen says unequip? You don't want it on your robot, remove it. That's basically the power they gave to us. You don't want modules? Don't use them. Second thing I noticed, pilots. Let me show you something. You don't want pilots in the game? Remove it, just like it says with this pilot, and don't use it. Don't use pilots and don't use modules. You're going to talk about, well, what about drones? Who says you have to touch it to go into battle and play it? There's a button you can avoid touching in order to... You can touch a certain button that you can play without using drones in your game. You see, the rating system and the test server system, one thing I've learned about this so far is, just like I said in the title of this video, the power player has in War Robots. You really think Pixonic is taking all the power away from us and not letting us decide? No. They want their player base to be happy. Titans are the same way. You don't necessarily need to ask them if you don't want them. I mean, when it comes to the voting system in this game, it doesn't just work with test server. If player base, the majority of players that play this game We're not to play Titans anymore, not to play modules anymore, not to play pilots anymore, not to play drones anymore. What do you think that would tell Pixonic? Want me to show you something what they would do to any of that stuff? Let me show you something. This may just knock your socks off and saying, wow, I didn't realize I had that kind of power. Let me find it here. Yes, I have a lot of robots here. Try to find. Probably went past it. Shoots. What do you think they did with this robot a few years ago? They took it out of the game store. Not in the game store. Majority of the players that have actually been playing this game back when Shoots was still around, like myself, probably actually still have theirs, unless they sold it foolishly. They took it out of the game store because nobody was playing it. The majority of players were not playing Shoots, and that's why they took it out. They did the same thing with Boa and with Golem, both of those robots. I'm sure they've even done that with a few older weapons. I don't know when it comes to the weapons because I've only been playing maybe 4 years now. Actually, I forgot how long I've been playing this game, but when it comes to this game, you don't want something in this game? Tell them. Go on test server and tell them in the test server form. But don't get mad if they add it to the game, because here's the catch. The test server form only works if the majority of players choose not to have it in the game. Basically, what that tells me is majority of players that, I mean, the Titans, the modules, the pilots, the drones, all the new robots and weapons, everything else, including the new thing, the spaceship in outer space that's on test server. It's all going to be added and has been added into the game because the majority of players playing this game wanted it in the game. It's not Pixonic's fault. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, I would like to blame Pixonic for all this myself, but I have to look at the facts. If they didn't want it in the game, they wouldn't have given us the choice of voting for it. But test server proves it. The test server form proves it. Basically, you can't, I mean, yeah, I'm sure people say, yes, we can still blame them. Oh, of course. But does it do any good? No. That's just like, oh, I don't know, blaming a puppy that hasn't really learned how to, that hasn't been potty trained to go outside when they need to go. You know, you can't really blame them because it's your fault for not training them. Well, when it comes to Pixonic, you can't, I mean, me personally, this is just my opinion. Just my opinion. This whole video is just my opinion, but I'm just telling you what I have seen and noticed. They give us the power as a war robot community to vote for this stuff out of the game. You don't want it in the game. Join together and become the majority of players voting it out on test server or in the rating system, or just plain not using it anymore. That's how this system works. It's basically like a voting system, say in the voting system that goes with the American voting system in America, voting for the leaders that lead this country. We don't want somebody leading this country, no matter what position they're taking, well, then they don't get voted in, because the majority of people make their voices heard. Same goes for this game. You don't want the modules, you don't want the pilots, you don't want the Titans, you don't want the drones, you don't want the new thing, the new spaceship in test server in the game. Vote it out. Do the test server form. That's my suggestion to you, because Pixonic has given us the power since the beginning. I don't think the majority of players realize just how much power Pixonic has given us. That's a little food for thought on this whole thing. Me personally, since I've learned this today and making this video for all of my viewers and subscribers that actually are interested, just like my title says, we have the power in War Robots. Pixonic just wants to see us happy. They're the ones coming up with the ideas. Doesn't mean we have to vote it in. You want it like the old days? Well, let them know. But right now, the way I see it, majority of players are actually enjoying this stuff. If they didn't, none of it would have been added into it in the first place. I myself am not going to blame Pixonic anymore. I'm blaming the whole entire, including myself, the War Robot community, because we have the power to vote it out. And I'm sure people are going to, in the comments on this video, telling me that I'm wrong and everything else. Well, I got news for you. Look at test server. Look at all the buttons that are in the game. Look at the pilots. Look at the drones. Everything else, you'll realize they gave us the power to use this stuff or not. It's not their fault that we enjoy it. Kind of sick, disgusting thought, isn't it? They gave us the power, and for example, I'm part of this War Robot community, and yet I'm one of many that has the power to say no. Do I enjoy this stuff? Of course. Although the new thing with the spaceship in outer space and shooting a great big beam down, I have not been able to get on test server to vote my opinion on that, so as far as I'm concerned, they can keep that thing out. That's one thing that doesn't need to be added, but I'm not going to be, even if I did vote it out, doesn't mean that it's going to be part of the majority that rules it out of the game. I'm sure there's other test server, there's other YouTubers that have stated the same stuff over the years. Majority of players just vote this stuff in because they like it. It's just the way things go. Sonic only can hear the majority of what players want. That's the way it goes. Instead of boring you with all this talk, I'm gonna at least do a few battles, maybe one. Think about what I said. We have the power to vote it out if we want. Even boosters are part of that power. It's not Pixonic's fault as far as I'm concerned anymore. It's our fault. We wanted it in. Or those who voted it in did. See that little, see this? You can vote it out. Lower bottom screen. Well, as you can tell, everybody in War Robot community, I'm not the greatest player, I'm not the best, I just play the game for fun. When it comes to the choices that people make, that Pixonic have put into this game, well, sorry, those things are a little loud. When it comes to all the stuff that's been added into this game, the Titans, the modules, the boosters, the pilots, the drones, and the new thing that's in the test server, the spaceship in outer space shooting down a beam, which can actually be voted out if enough people vote it out on test server. But when it comes to the stuff that's already currently in the game, if you want the Titans out of the game, band together and stop using them. Don't use Titans in your battles. The majority of people that don't use Titans in their battles anymore, Pixonic's going to see that, and when they see that the majority of players are not using them anymore, eventually they'll take them out, just like they did with Shoots, Golem, and Boa, the robots. They'll take something out that the players aren't using. They've done it before. Honestly, I'm one of those old school gamers. I've been playing video games ever since Pong was been out, and I was just a little kid, you know, under the age of 13 when I was playing that. That goes back before Nintendo, way before Nintendo. So when it comes to trying out new things, I'm all for new things in this game. It makes it interesting. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm an idiot or a loser or anything else like that. It just means that I'm got an open mind to trying new things. And anybody who actually hates any of this stuff, well, you obviously need to broaden your horizon when it comes to video games, because same old can get a little boring after a while. At least that's just that. All of this is just my opinion when it comes to video games. When it comes to this video game, War Robots, made by Pixonic, you don't want something in it anymore, stop using it. Well, gotta go. See you in the next video, everybody. Thanks. Bye.